Hi everyone, welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. Have the usual 2 blocks and a strap, maybe a blanket as well, just to have them handy in case. And let's begin in a comfortable seat. So I posted on Instagram today this quote from Audre Lorde, African-American writer. She said, "We have been raised to fear our deepest cravings, and the fear of our deepest cravings keeps them suspect, keeps us docile, loyal, and obedient, and leads us to settle for many facets of our own oppression." Pretty fierce. I've been reading this book by Tara Brach, mindfulness teacher, called Radical Acceptance, Embracing Your Life with the Heart of the Buddha. And there's a section where she talks about how our emotions live in our bodies. And when we are experiencing uncomfortable emotions, to anchor ourselves in the sensations that are happening so that we can have present moment awareness to make a clear-headed decision of how we respond. So with that, she talked about this so-called wanting self, our inner cravings, like Audre Lorde is referring to. And she says that when we can't meet our emotional needs directly, the wanting self develops strategies for satisfying them with substitutes. When they so-called work, these strategies provide immediate gratification through a temporary surge of pleasant sensations. So you might remember before I quoted Tara Brach in this book, how she says that we are constantly reacting to the physical sensations in our body as the emotions are creating those sensations. And then she goes, our most regularly used strategies to get what we want also become a defining part of our sense of self. We talked about the root causes of suffering, so this kind of touches upon that, the kleshas. The overeating, the competing, the people-pleasing feel like me. As we immerse ourselves in the life-consuming pursuit of substitutes, we become increasingly alienated from our authentic desires, our deepest longings for love and belonging. Even if they don't address our deepest needs, they prop us up, these so-called strategies, and for a time, keep getting us the goods that give us those momentary pleasant sensations. So I have a personal story. I talked about how I ate a whole bag of chips for dinner. Remember that? And this is the greater context in which it happened. So when I graduated from high school, I was about 17 years old, and my family moved way across to San Fernando Valley. And I was living before that in a town that was very not multiracial at all, basically 2 races, including mine. And it was a very small town type of living. And then I came to the Valley where it was so many cultures and so many ideas, independent ideas, very different from the conservative ones that I was raised in. And so this was a culture shock, plus the fact that I couldn't drive yet. So I felt very estranged from everything that was familiar to me, especially my friends who couldn't take the trek very often to come visit me. And so this longing for a sense of belonging, like Tara Brach was saying, and this loneliness that arose in me, I reacted to it, trying to appease these difficult sensations that were coming out of the emotions by stuffing myself literally with junk food, like constant compulsive eating, binge eating, the most ridiculous things that I could find. Hot Cheeto sandwiches on bread and just things I would never eat today. They don't even sound like they taste good. And all because I was trying to satiate this hole that I felt. And then I would feel guilty afterwards and run on the treadmill trying to burn the same amount of calories that I consumed. And it was this pendulum swing of binge eating and treadmill running, which felt like punishment over and over again, until I decided this couldn't continue. I talked about that mindful pause and just taking a moment to really understand, what is my body telling me? What is the emotional need underneath that physical craving? And so I started to address the loneliness by joining the cross-country team, making a new set of friends, and blah, blah, blah. And things became a lot better. So the point of this story is, this happens to all of us. How do we neglect what's underneath the surface of our deepest emotional needs, our desires, our inner cravings, by substituting the appeasement with temporary things that might feel good at the moment, but then in the long run, they're really just keeping that hole, H-O-L-E, there. So how does this relate to yoga? Yoga has the second limb of yoga, and in the niyamas is the practice of truthfulness, self-honesty, as well as the practice of self-study, studying our own behaviors, studying our own minds and hearts and patterns. And as we do that with integrity, with full honesty, no matter how difficult it may seem at times, we really can begin to uncover, as the point of the 8 limbs of yoga is, that true self within, that inherent goodness, that vitality, that pure love, all that good stuff. So trust, as we come to the practice, all is coming. Like Sri Patabi Joyce said, let's begin. So as you're sitting comfortably, set a hand on your heart center, middle of your chest, maybe a hand at your lower belly, and connect with what's here now. Take a moment to pause, mindfully scan your body. What sensations are giving you information? The body never lies. And with all the self-study, remember the key ingredient of ahimsa, loving kindness, non-violence. So doing this all through the lens of love. What's true for you in your heart at this moment? What's true for you in your mind? What are you attending to in your energy? And with all that, acknowledge, clarify your personal intention or prayer for this practice. Taking a deeper inhale, open the mouth, feel free to release any sound. Again, deep breath in, sit up a little taller, relax the shoulders back and down, and through the mouth, let it go. And then as we do this inner work, physical work, mental work, that is yoga, think of someone that you might dedicate this practice to, sending love from afar. And then sending our intentions and dedications out there as we resonate them within us. Let's join our voices together in community, chanting 3 ohms. Take a deep breath in. And let's begin to deepen the breath in and out through the nose while softly narrowing the back of your throat, easing into slow, even ujjayi breath. Softly whispering through the nose. Let's make our way down to all fours, hands and knees, preparing to move the spine to your breath. So setting your wrists on the ground just beneath your shoulders and your knees a couple inches behind your hips. As you inhale, glide your chest forward, coiling it up, drop your shoulders back. As you exhale, press down through your hands and contract your belly. Drop your head to round your back. Inhale to cow pose, lifting the chest. Exhale to cat pose, lifting the belly. And just like that, continue a few more cycles of Betalasana, cat-cow. Feel your fingers spread wide as you root down through the base of your thumb and index fingers. Pointing your index fingers straight forward or slightly turning them out to help open the fronts of the shoulders. At the end of your next exhalation, tuck your toes with feet hips width apart and lift your hips high and back, entering downward facing dog. Then take a few breaths there. You might like to shift around in your own way, welcoming your body into this posture. Find space throughout your neck and shoulders here. As you keep your hands rooted, wrap your triceps towards the ground and lift your shoulder blades up away from your neck while softening the back of your neck. Now let's hold still as you set your eyes on one spot, cultivating mental focus. Taking 3 deep breaths. And then start to walk to the front of your mat, arriving in a standing forward fold, Uttanasana, with your feet hips width apart, parallel. Bend your knees and reach your hands behind your lower back, either to interlace your fingers or to hold a strap between them. And as you tilt your weight as far forward as you can balance here, breathe in, engage the belly in, and lift your crown towards the front wall, sending your shoulders back. And with your elbows slightly bent, exhale to fold over your legs, stretching your arms forward away from your lower back, little by little. As we take about 4 more breaths here, you might find it helpful to loosen the back of your body by swaying the spine or softly shaking and nodding your head. Let the shoulders rise away from your ears as you completely drop your head. And then plant your fingertips either onto your legs, blocks in front of your feet, or the ground ahead of your feet. And as you breathe in, again, stretch the top of your head forward into a flat back as you send the shoulders down your back, firming the belly in. Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Exhale again, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, circle your arms apart, rise all the way up to stand, reaching your palms to meet overhead as you gaze towards them. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, trace your thumbs from your crown down your center. Arms by your sides, palms facing forward in Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's take a couple rounds of Surya Namaskar C to warm up our whole body, connecting to your breath. As you breathe in, sweep your arms forward, roll your shoulders back and down, coiling your chest up, firm your lower belly in. Exhale from your hips, bow over your legs. Hands on blocks or the ground outside your feet. Inhale, step your left knee behind you to a kneeling lunge and look up. Exhaling from plank, glide forward through Chaturanga Dandasana. Come all the way to the ground. Firm down through the tops of your feet. Inhale into Cobra, coiling your chest forward. Press down to hands and knees. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb and lower your back knee looking up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rise to stand, rolling your shoulders back, looking up. Exhale, trace your palms in prayer down your center. One more, sun salutation C. Inhale your arms forward, roll your shoulders back. Exhale, bow from your hips. Inhale, step your right knee back, look up, kneeling lunge. As you exhale from plank pose, lower forward, all the way down past Chaturanga Dandasana. Root down to your feet, hug your elbows close, breathe into Cobra. Exhale, maybe press up to plank pose. Lift your pelvis, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb. Lower your left knee and look up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms forward. Roll your shoulders back and look up. Exhale, bring your palms down your center line. Let's bring the feet together to touch. Bring your knees together to touch as you inhale into chair pose. And as you exhale, start to lower your pelvis all the way to the ground to sit. Separate your feet hips width, root down through the four corners of each foot. Keep your palms facing forward, arms forward. Drop the shoulders and take several breaths to slowly lower onto your back. Activating various muscles of your core from your neck to your pelvis and all around your torso. Take your time. When your head meets the ground, separate your arms wide apart like a T on the floor. Palms face down, draw the shoulders down the back, then bend your knees and lift them to stack right above your hips so that your shins, connecting each other, are parallel to the floor. Flex your feet. Now feel the distance between the ground and your lower back. Shorten, but don't eliminate that distance. Engaging the belly in. Take a breath in here. Exhale, slowly lower your knees to the right. As close to the ground you can hover them without dropping them on the floor or lifting the left shoulder. Inhale, lift your knees up to center again. Exhale, hover your knees to the left as close to the ground as you can keep the right shoulder down. Inhale, up to center. If you feel like adding rigor, straighten the legs. Exhale, hover your feet or your knees to the right. Listen to your breath. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. If your legs are straight, inhale, center. Try lowering your feet diagonally forward towards the upper right corner of your room as you exhale. Inhale, center. Whatever you do on the right side, symmetrically take it to the left. Exhale. 2 more rounds on each side. Inhale, center. Smooth breathing as much as you can. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Last round on each side. Breathe in. Slowly breathe out. Breathe in. This is the area of your solar plexus, Manipura chakra. Breathe out. We're stoking the fire of willpower. And then when you're ready, bend your knees together into your chest and start to rock and roll forward and back, until you can come all the way forward onto hands and knees or float into Chaturanga and take a vinyasa of your choice. We'll meet in downward facing dog. While you're in downward dog, spot where your strap is. Have it just off to the side where you can reach for it in a moment. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. And as you exhale, bend the right knee and turn out your thigh at the hip. Inhale here and tack your left outer hip back. As you exhale, bend your right knee towards your nose, scoop the belly in, rounding forward to plank. Gently land the right foot beside your right thumb and lower your back knee. With your legs hips width apart and your front knee right on top of the heel, without moving your feet visibly, energetically drag your legs towards each other. Feel that rootedness and then grab your strap, press your hands onto the top of your right thigh As you're rooting down, keep lifting your spine tall as you rest the shoulders down. How's your breath? Take hold of the strap in your left hand. Raise your left arm, dangle the strap behind your back. With your right hand, rotate your left tricep forward. Bring the elbow behind your head and press both shoulders down. Reach the right hand behind you, catch the other end of the strap. Walk your hands as close together as you can. Maybe they clasp, maybe they don't. Then as you continue to energetically drag the right heel back, lift your frontal hip bones. Lift your sternum. Lift the back of your skull. Roll the shoulder heads back and down, taking another 3 breaths in this variation of Anjaneyasana, a gentle back bend. Start to release both hands alongside your right leg on blocks or the floor. Flex your right toes up and scissor your right hip back, straightening your front leg for Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Draw your shoulder blades down your back and slightly lift your sternum at the middle of your chest while you're bowing towards the inside of your right leg. Another 4 deep breaths. Support your lower back as you bow by firming in your belly slightly. Start to step back, downward facing dog. Root down through fingers spread. Inhale, sweep your left leg behind you. Feel the squaring of your hips leveled in height. Exhale, bend your left knee and turn out the thigh. Feel the difference. Inhale here, tack the right hip back. As you exhale, round into plank, bending your left knee towards your nose, firming the belly in. Lightly step your left foot beside your left thumb and lower your back knee, legs hips distance. Front knee stacked right over the heel. Energetically scissor your legs and grab your strap. Press your hands onto the top of your left thigh. Take a few breaths here to feel that groundedness and that liftedness at the same time, up through the spine and chest. Then take the strap in your right hand, raise your right arm and dangle the strap behind you. With your left hand, rotate your right tricep forward, bring the elbow behind your head. Reach your left hand underneath, grab the other end of the strap, and walk your hands as close together as you can. Maybe they clasp. Keep energetically dragging your left heel back as you lift your frontal hip bones, your chest, your back ribs, and the back of your skull. But descend shoulder blades, tailbone. Let's take another 3 or 4 breaths here, coiling your chest up. And then gently lower your fingertips to frame your left leg on blocks or the floor. Lift the ball of your left foot flexed and begin to straighten the leg by plugging the thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket while you reach your sternum forward in the opposite direction, bowing, firming the belly in, sending the shoulders down your back. Let's take about 4 more breaths here in half split, or Ardha Hanumanasana. And then start to tuck your back toes, bend your front knee, look forward, step up to the front of your mat, forward folds. Circle your arms apart, inhale, rise, palms touching overhead in Urdhva Hastasana, look up. Exhale your hands down your center, Sun Salutation A, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Exhale, bow forward. Press the ground, your legs are blocked. Inhale, stretch the crown forward. Either walk to plank to lower or float into chaturanga. Inhale into cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Bring your feet together here. Inhale, raise your right leg. Feel the squaring of your hips. Exhale, bend the knee, rotate the thigh open, feel the difference. Inhale, tap the left hip back. Exhale, round knee to nose. Step the foot between your hands, spin the back heel down. Warrior two. Inhale, cartwheel your arms and set your gaze steady. Just past your right hand. Let's take 5 breaths. Hugging the right outer hip towards you. Splay the right thigh open, tracking the middle of your right knee with your middle toe. Firm the outside edge of your left foot into the ground as you straighten your left leg. Stack your 2 shoulders above your 2 hips. 1 more breath in Virabhadrasana 2. Straighten your right leg. Glide your hips towards the back of your mat. Reach your right hand past your right knee, then lower it onto your right leg, a block outside the leg or the ground. As you raise your left arm, stack your shoulders and your wrists in one straight line. Tack the crease of your right hip back towards your outer left heel. As you lengthen your crown forward towards your front wall, then spiral your chest slightly to face the sky, maybe gazing past your left thumb. Last 3 breaths here in Trikonasana, triangle pose. Take a deep breath in. Exhale your hands to plank pose, optional to lower through a vinyasa or go straight to downward dog. Check in with your breathing. Notice the sensations in your body. What's true for you right now? And how might you honor that? If you're ready for side 2, bring your feet together in downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg, squaring your hips first. Exhale, bend your left knee and rotate the thigh open. Feel the difference. Inhale, tack your right outer hip back. Exhale, contract your belly and round forward, bending knee to nose in plank. Step the foot between your hands and spin your right heel down, aligning heel to arch. Inhale, windmill your arms and arrive at warrior 2. Setting your gaze steady. So as you're bending your front knee right on top of the heel, hug your left outer hip towards you and firm the top of your right thigh bone back towards you. Stack the crown of your head above your tailbone and feel that long line of energy across your chest, arms, and fingertips. Last 2 breaths. Then straighten your left leg and glide your hips towards the back of your mat, reaching your left hand forward and down into triangle pose. Stack your shoulders and wrists in one straight line, sending your shoulders down your back, spiral your chest slightly to face the sky. Set your eyes on one spot. Let's take another 3 to 4 breaths in Trikonasana. Inhale, look down at your left foot. Exhale, this time step into plank pose. From plank pose, shift way forward, graze your elbows by your ribs, pause at least for an inhalation in Chaturanga Dandasana, maybe longer. Hug the front ribs in, broaden the chest, lengthen the neck, firm the heels back. When you're ready, come all the way down and slide your elbows to the ground right beneath your shoulders, lifting your chest. Sphinx pose. Bring your knees close together. Feel your legs actively stretching behind you. Imagine your big toes trying to touch your rear wall. Then fan out your toes at the same time and root down through every toenail. So much that your knees actually are not touching the floor, but your pubic bone is. Keep that action and interlace your fingers behind your lower back. Bound locust pose with feet rooted to the earth. When you're ready, coil your chest up on an in-breath and take 5 breaths or more before you lower back to Sphinx. So as you're in bound Shalabhasana or locust pose, stretch the knuckles of your hands actively towards your heels and spread your collarbones apart while sending the tops of your shoulders down and looking on the ground ahead so that you maintain the length in the back of your neck. Feel the energy of your face, relax the eyes. How's your breathing? Toenails still pressing into the ground, knees are slightly lifted. And I'll meet you in Sphinx pose when you're ready. This time in Sphinx, interlace your fingers. Root your outer wrists, forearms, and elbows to the floor and make sure that your elbows are exactly as wide apart as your shoulders. As you look just at the ground ahead of your knuckles, let your chest broaden, just like we did in Bound Locust. Send the shoulder blades down your back. With your feet touching each other, tuck your toes. Firm your inner heels back so much that your knees are very much off the floor and your quadriceps are contracted, the front muscles of your thighs. As you breathe in, keep looking just in front of your knuckles. As you breathe out, scoop the belly in and lift the pelvis. Come into a horizontal line through the center of your body in forearm plank pose. Taking another 5 breaths, more or less. Keep looking at the floor just ahead of your knuckles. Lengthen the back in front of your neck. Root down to your forearms and lift yourself away from the floor by pushing the floor away. Lug the shoulder blades down the back. Spread them apart. Lift the front ribs in. Engage the belly. Root the inner heels towards the back wall. Firm the front muscles of your thighs. And if you're still here, lower your knees and slide back into child's pose. Let's take a few breaths here. Arms wherever you like. Again, feel into the sensations of your body. Remember that you are the one who is pacing your practice. Know that you can rest or take variations of poses anytime you need to. As you practice truthfulness with yourself, Satya. And if you feel ready to move on, let's meet in downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, start with your feet hips width apart. Be mindful to keep your hips leveled. As you inhale to raise the right leg back and flex the foot. Feel the equal length in both sides of your torso, left and right. Exhale, bend your right knee towards your nose, lift the navel and round your back. Step the right foot beside your right thumb. Keep your feet hips width apart and your 2 hips facing forward, but spin your left heel down to the ground. Then start to raise your arms overhead to rise up into Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. So bending your front knee right on top of your front heel. Draw your right outer hip back. At the same time, straighten your left leg entirely and press your outer left heel into the floor. Spiral your inner left thigh towards the back of the room. Then lift your frontal hip bones slightly towards your lowest front ribs, drawing your tailbone downward. Bring your inner gaze up your spine as though you could stack each vertebra even more spaciously upright. Relax the shoulders. Let's take another 3 breaths. in Virabhadrasana 1. Now with your arms up, like you do in downward facing dog, rotate your triceps forward. Plug your shoulder blades down your back. Now bring your fingertips together, almost like prayer with the palms, but space between. Keep your elbows exactly shoulders width apart. Be careful not to splay them wider. Begin to trace your thumbs down the back of your skull, towards the back of your neck, maybe even towards between the shoulder blades, beginning to coil your chest up into a back bend without losing the length of your lower back. So continue to firm the lower belly in and anchor the tailbone downward as you're coiling the chest up. Keep the bend in the front knee. Back leg straight, inner left thigh towards the back wall. Let's take 3 more breaths in this variation of Warrior 1. Take another breath in. Exhale, lower your left fingertips to the ground or on a block just beneath your left shoulder. Lift the left heel and come into a high lunge. Use your right hand to draw your right outer hip downward. Keep stacking the front knee over the heel. Raise the right arm and begin to spiral your chest to the right, entering a twist in your lunge. Optional to add more extension to the right side body here by rotating the right tricep to face the right wall and sweeping the right arm overhead as you continue to twist and send your shoulders down your back. Let's take another 3 breaths. Look down at your right foot, exhale, downward facing dog. Let's save the vinyasa for later for the sake of time. When you arrive at downward dog, separate your feet hips width apart. Your 2 hips leveled. As you inhale to raise your left leg back and flex the foot. Find equal length in the left and right sides of your torso. Exhale, bend the left knee towards your nose and lift the navel round your back. Stepping the left foot beside your left thumb, separate your feet hips distance apart and spin your right heel down while keeping your 2 frontal hip bones facing forward. Imagine you're dragging the feet towards each other as you inhale to rise. Warrior 1. Bend your front knee right on top of the heel and plug your left thigh bone back into the hip socket. Keep doing that as you straighten your right leg completely, pressing the outer right heel into the floor while spiraling your inner right thigh towards your rear wall. Now lift your frontal hip bones and anchor your tailbone downward. Imagine breathing up your spine from bottom up, restacking each vertebra with more space between. How's your breath? Now as you rotate your triceps to face forward to broaden across your shoulders, plug your shoulders down and lengthen your neck. Then keep your elbows no wider than shoulders distance apart, bending them upwards as you press your fingertips into each other, almost like prayer. Trace your thumbs down the back of your skull, back of your neck, as far back as they'll go, while bending your back right beneath your shoulder blades and continuing to anchor the tailbone down. Let's take another 4 breaths in this variation of Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Lifting your arms up, place your right hand on the floor or on a block on the inner side of your left foot so that your wrist is directly under your right shoulder. Lift the right heel, come into a high lunge, and use your left hand to plug the left outer hip down. Keep your left leg solid as you breathe in to stretch your crown down the center line of your mat. Keep your hips leveled as you breathe out to twist to the left, raising your left arm. Now, if you did so on the first side, a more lateral extension, rotate your left tricep to face your left wall. Then sweep the left arm overhead and draw the shoulders down your back. Let's take another 4 breaths in your twist. Look down at your left foot and exhale, plank pose, chaturanga. Maybe pause a moment in chaturanga, finding length in your neck and spreading the shoulder blades apart. Then come back all the way to the floor into Sphinx pose again. This time in Sphinx pose with the elbows right under shoulders. Pause and breathe. Bring your feet together to touch. Take a moment here, maybe shake out the head or lion's breath if you need a little cooling from this might be a little heated sequence so far. Maybe flutter the lips. Smile. Notice the difference that makes in your body. Come back to your why, your intention for this practice, and let it fuel you from an inner, deeper desire. So, with your palms face down, broaden across your shoulders like we do in downward dog by rotating your triceps towards the back wall. Plug the shoulder blades down the back and lengthen your neck. All the same actions we've been doing. With your feet touching each other, tuck your toes. Firm your inner heels back so much your knees lift off the floor. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, scoop the belly in, lift your pelvis, come into forearm plank. Look ahead of your thumbs and lengthen your neck, broaden the shoulder blades, lift the space between them. Cross the right forearm diagonally to the left. With your feet together touching and flexed, roll onto the outside edge of your right foot, the entire pinky side of the foot. So the left foot stacks on top of the right. Press the ground away with your right forearm, palm, and outer right foot flexed. And begin to raise the left arm, lifting the right hip like there's a magnet, pulling it up towards the ceiling. Stack your left wrist over your left shoulder, right shoulder over your right elbow. Last 2 or 3 breaths in, forearm side plank, a variation of Vashisthasana. Sweep the left arm overhead, find that lateral extension through the left side body. Breathe in, keep hugging the front ribs in. Come back to forearm plank. Parallel the forearms, look forward, breathe in, firm the inner heels back. Exhale, lower your knees and pelvis, back to Sphinx pose. Take about 3 breaths here. Sense what's present for you right now in your breathing, energy, body, mind. Continue to observe these realms. Let the posture be the context in which you might notice patterns. All right, here we go. Feet together, tuck the toes. Look just ahead of your thumbs. Broaden the shoulder blades and plug them down the back. Press back through the inner heels, breathe in. Exhale, scoop the belly and lift the pelvis. Create a strong horizontal line down your center. Cross your left forearm diagonally to the right. Roll onto the outside edge of your left foot so the entire left side of the foot is on the floor. Flex both feet as you stack them. Push the floor away with the left elbow, forearm, and palm, and raise the right arm to stack right wrist over left shoulder. How's your breathing? Just like you would in plank pose, remember this is side plank, a variation of it. Hug your front ribs in and draw the shoulder blades down your back. Press the ground away, that essence of rooting down to rise up. We've got 3 more breaths. Maybe add reaching the right arm overhead, stretching the right side body. Keep lifting your left side waist and your left hip away from the floor. Look down towards your left forearm and come back to forearm plank. Look forward, stretch through the center line of your body, breathe in, lower your knees, and come down to child's pose. Placing your arms wherever you like. Let's take about 3 deep breaths in Balasana. From here, roll yourself up. And like I mentioned, our month-long theme was playing with Salamba Shirshasana, which is supported headstand. We've done quite a bit to sharpen the tools that help to get into that pose. So I'm gonna walk you through dolphin pose with the crown of your head on the floor. And you may like to create a platform out of your blocks if you have any tightness in your hamstrings, so that you can step your feet into the middle of the blocks. Otherwise, you just put them aside. If you have any neck issues, don't put your head on the floor. Just keep it a forearm balancing dolphin pose where you're just hanging the head or looking forward. So let's set up, extend your arms forward, rotate the triceps down, plug the shoulder blades down the back. Remember those two key actions we've been practicing. Interlace your fingers and keep your elbows shoulders width apart. So remember when we did this in Warrior One, we traced the thumbs down the back of the skull? It's that same openness in the shoulders we're gonna need, placing the forearms down, open the inner webbing of your palms a bit, and find the very crown of your head to place on the ground. So the back of your skull is lightly supported by the inner webbing of your palms. Root down through your forearms and create space in your neck by lifting the shoulders. Tuck your toes and then scoop your belly in to lift your pelvis like downward dog. Actually, this is dolphin pose with head on the floor. And then see if you can walk your feet forward, maybe come up higher on the tiptoes. And as you keep your hips squared, not turned out, maybe raise one leg straight up, flexing the foot and straightening the leg solidly. And then switch sides or use that lifted leg to help you crank up the opposite leg, lifting both legs, feet together flexed. Lift the tailbone towards your inner heels. Remember that strong center line that we practice maintaining in those forearm planks? Find that here, though it's vertical, from crown up the spine, up your inner heels. Hug the front ribs in. You've already played with pretty much all the ingredients to create this posture. Now, a lot of times, it's addressing our own fears of going upside down. Notice what's present in your mind, emotion, body. And then when you decide that you're done, let's make our way into Sphinx pose, taking your time to get there. And when you arrive at Sphinx pose, you may want to take one of your blocks and place it just to the right side of your skull as we come into a yin shoulder opening posture. So use that block as a pillow if you like. Slide your right arm straight out to the right with a palm face down. Place the left hand on the floor beside your left shoulder and press the ground away with it. Start to roll over onto your right hip, stacking your 2 feet and leaning the right side of your head on the block. Slide the right shoulder blade down your back, lengthening the right side of your neck. How is your breathing here? Now, if you need more sensation in this pose, more intensity, you can step the left foot behind you, lean further back. You might explore how it feels to wrap the left arm behind you. Maybe the hands meet. Take about 5 more deep breaths. And when you're ready, gently roll onto your belly. Use the block as a pillow, transfer it to the left side of your skull. Slide your left arm straight out to the left with a palm face down. Place the right hand on the ground beside your right shoulder and begin to press the floor away with it, rolling over onto your left hip, leaning the left side of your head on your block. Scoot the left shoulder blade down your back. And notice, what are the sensations in your body, even most subtle ones, telling you here? They're always guiding us. Giving us Notice the parameters, safety within a pose. About 4 more breaths. Helping us to find our edges. And when you feel ready, slowly come back to your belly. Slide your palms beside your floating ribs and press up to sit, bringing your legs out in front of you. Step your right foot, as I'm mirroring you, on the ground. We prepare for a twist, either in front of your right hip or crossed outside of your left knee. Maybe also bend your left knee. Make sure your 2 sitting bones are evenly grounded, your spine is upright. Place the right hand on the floor behind your pelvis and raise your left arm. Root into the ground, even with the sole of your right foot, to lift up to your spine as you breathe in. Exhale, twist to your right and lower your left arm, either holding the shin or hooking your elbow outside the thigh. Let's take a few more breaths here. And then gently unwind your spine. Extend your left leg forward, and let's come into Janu Shirshasana, bringing the sole of your right foot high on your inner left thigh. Optional to use your strap around the ball of your left foot flexed with 2 hands. Plug your 2 sitting bones down, sit up tall as you breathe in, and then exhale, extend your sternum towards your left pinky toe, hugging the belly in as you bow with a little cobra pose in your chest. Take 3 more breaths in head to knee pose. And on your next in-breath, slowly lift your spine and your right leg forward, and try to set up the same way as you did for your twist on side 2. Either step the left foot on the ground in front of the hip or outside the right knee. Maybe also bend your right knee. Place the left hand on the ground behind your pelvis, sit up a little taller, right arm up, breathe in. Exhale, twist to your left and lower your right arm. Hold your shin or hook your elbow outside the thigh. About 3 more breaths here. And then as you unwind, extend your right leg forward. Bring the sole of your left foot high on your inner right thigh. Optional to use a strap around the ball of your right foot, holding it with 2 hands. Plug your sitting bones down, sit up taller as you breathe in. Extend your sternum towards your right pinky toe, breath by breath, into Janu Shirshasana. Inhale, slowly rise up, and let's make our way onto our backs. Take 1 last minute in your last cooling pose before Shavasana. Maybe it's happy baby, maybe it's shoulder stand or plow. Take a few last clearing exhales through your mouth, maybe some lion's breath, Simasana, Pranayama, where you inhale through the nose deeply. And as you exhale with the mouth and eyes wide, you stick out the tongue and release any sound. And then look around your space. Is there anything that you may need to set up for a comfortable resting corpse pose, where you can lie in stillness and be fully present? Take your time to set yourself up. So beginning to place your body in stillness. Let your feet splay apart. Relax the soles of your feet. To keep the fronts of your shoulders open, you might rotate your palms to face up, rotating from your shoulder sockets. And then notice the sensations around your skull. Relax the muscles in your face. Think of relaxing your scalp, relaxing your jaw. Let your two shoulders evenly settle into the earth, inviting an open and buoyant heart space. And now, as you breathe naturally, use every new exhalation to invite you, your body, your whole being to surrender deeper into loving awareness. Shavasana. Coming back to your physical body, sense what's present here now. As you feel ready, begin to move small parts of your body first, being gentle with yourself. Ease into slowly stretching, taking your time to gradually begin to make your way up into a comfortable seat for our 5 minutes sitting silently in meditation. I invite you into a mindfulness meditation of cultivating loving awareness of the sensations in your body. It says you might also notice thought forms coming and going, or feelings, emotions shifting or sustaining. I invite you to pay attention to how your body feels. Notice what comes up connected to certain thoughts or emotions, or notice what's constantly there. And I'm talking about the physical sensations. So let's sit with that for the next 5 minutes, observing the sensations in your body and perhaps how they change. And as you sit here observing, is there any wanting of some kind, any desire that arises for you? Perhaps a desire to distract oneself, or the desire to do something, to not be still, whatever it may be. When a desire comes up, I invite you to pay even closer attention to the physical sensations that might arise with it. remembering that our yoga practice, this hour together, is a time when we recharge the tools that we hope to bring into our daily living practice of yoga. So how might we bring this awareness of bodily sensations throughout the day as emotions come and go, and really use these sensations as messengers, and perhaps even ask ourselves, what's beneath this desire? Is there something more rooted that I can address if it's ever pertinent to you? And so with that, let's close this practice. Maybe join your palms to meet at your heart. Remember the intention that you set and the dedication you made. And let's join our voices in one more Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.